Hi, I'm Bobby G, and this is Bobby G's Big Stone ATX.
I love it.
Today I've got my special guest, Joel McColl.
Hey,
Joel, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm great.
Joel is a singer-songwriter here in Austin, and I was lucky enough to have him at our event about a month ago for Sims Foundation, and we've got to be friends in short order. And I'm so happy he's here with us today, and he's going to tell us about the love he pours into the music he does, how it enriches the fabric of Austin, and tell us about those special big stones that have been dropped in his life who've showed him love and encouragement along the way. Joel, do you want to start us off with a song?
Yeah. This is actually the title song for the CD I just came out with.
Okay.
It's called Humankind.
Okay.
Well, I'll play it, then I'll tell you where it came from.
I'd like that.
Make the most of the situation. Play the ball as it lies. Put wings on your imagination. Watch it fly. Yeah, watch it fly. It'll fly so high. Love grows where it's planted. Tend your garden each day. Don't ever take it for granted. In a blink it might fade, just might fade away. Might fade away. Make straight our path, make clear our eyes, make pure our hearts, be humble and kind, be humankind. Make peace with your neighbor. Join in the dance. Grace comes not as a favor. It's not a matter of chance. Go on and take a chance. Yeah, take a chance. Make straight our path, make clear our eyes, make pure our hearts, be humble and kind. Make straight our path, make clear our eyes, make pure our hearts, be humble and kind, be humankind. The sound of one hand clapping.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That was worth the price of admission.
So that song came from, everybody's favorite pastime in Austin is reading bumper stickers while you're stuck in traffic. Mm-hmm. Right. And I saw a bumper sticker that said, "Humankind, be both." And that's where that came from.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the bumper sticker too.
Yeah. Well, it's better than, "Where are we going and why are we in this handbasket?" So anyway.
Oh, come on, Pie. You can come on.
Yeah. Hello, Pie.
Well, tell us. So, you've done some sales in the past. We've got that in common.
Yeah.
How long have you been a singer-songwriter here in town?
Well, in town, I've
Or
been
did
here.
Did you do it before somewhere else?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about
Yeah,
that. Let's reel it in. And
Okay. Well, I was raised in a non-musical family
okay,
in northeastern Oklahoma.
okay,
Accidentally started playing guitar. A friend of mine. We were on a swimming team together. And
How old were you at the time?
high school, 16 maybe.
Okay.
And we made up funny songs while we're at swimming meets. And he was a he was a musician. He needed a bass player, so he gave me a bass guitar and said, "Here, put your fingers on these dots when I hit these notes." And so, okay, I did that. And just kind of really organically fell in love with it. Picked up my neighbor's guitar, and my cousin showed me a few chords to Tom Dooley and House of the Rising Sun. And went to college, learned to smoke dope,
Where'd you go to school?
went to OU, Oklahoma.
Yeah, my daughter's a OU graduate, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Boomer.
Yeah, so I've spent some time in Norman before.
Sorry.
No,
I had a wonderful
It was
time.
great. It was,
Yeah.
She was in the interior design school, and they did a heck of a job for her. And,
Oh, cool. I really loved it. I came from 3 generations of OU alumni, so
Okay.
it was an easy thing for me to do. But anyway, I, like I said, learned to smoke dope and learned to play music kind of at the same time, and kind of quit going to class, and which did not help my academic career. Left college after 2 years, and joined a group called Up With People,
Okay.
a big traveling stage group, and traveled with them for 3 years. And it's kind of interesting. I'd only been playing guitar for a couple of years, and these were big-time musicians. And they had auditions when we went to the, for some reason I made the audition, and they selected me to be an acoustic player in one of the 3 casts. And the cast they put me in was this small special strike force that were all veterans that went and played the high profile corporate gigs. So it's like, you better learn how to play quickly. And so it was pressurized, and loved it. Just
That's
absolutely
awesome.
loved it, yeah.
What a great environment to be thrown into at at 20-some years old,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. 20 years old, and we did some pretty amazing things.
And did you tour just kind of locally there, or
Oh,
were you
no.
you were
No,
all
it
over
was-
the
It was
country?
international.
International.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the cast I was in, we did corporate tours for General Electric. We were in 32 cities in 28 days. American Airlines. I think that was 14 cities in 10 days, including playing in 747s, flying from LA to New York.
Up in the bubble?
In the bar in the bubble.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I've seen some pictures recently on like Instagram of those old
Vintage.
Right?
Yeah. Where they had a piano bar, and
Yeah.
we would do our show up there.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
And
the Playboy Club?
no, I never played the Playboy Club.
Okay.
Yeah, Up With People was a really, it was a musical Peace Corps, is what it was. Wherever we'd travel, well, so there were 3 casts. There were 2 large casts, 150 to 200 kids. A couple tons of sound equipment. They'd move into a city for a week and play arenas, essentially, and stay in people's homes. The group I was in my first year, we jetted around, so we stayed in a lot of hotels, but we also stayed in people's homes.
That must have been a hoot.
Oh, it was incredible. We played the grand opening of the Sydney Opera House. We played for the King and Queen of Belgium. Just had lunch at Bob Hope's house.
The one in Palm Springs?
Yeah,
Up on the hill.
the geodesic dome.
Oh my God, that's a crazy house.
Yeah, it was.
I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah,
I spent some time in Palm Springs with my daughter, but
yeah.
I always wanted to check out that house because that house is amazing.
Well, it was a pretty cool time. My host family in Palm Springs was Liberace's niece.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Liberace used to come to our shows.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How about his brother George?
I never met George. But he would talk about him.
I
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know anything about him. I just remember. I wish my brother George were here.
Yeah. He talked about George a lot.
Oh, that's funny. And then, okay, so you traveled and did that as a young man. Mm-hmm. And then, when did you come here to Austin?
Well, there were several years in between.
Okay.
I left Up With People in '74. We were playing at the World's Fair in Spokane, and that's where I left the group and started my individual music career.
Okay.
And played in Washington for a couple of years and moved to LA for a year and moved to Phoenix for several years and moved to Austin in '81.
Okay.
But the constant in that whole thing was playing music.
Okay. So tell me about Austin in 1981.
It was a little different than it is today.
Yeah.
It was very opening. It was kind of a eye opener. When we played in Phoenix was a large city, but it was more like a large town. Musically speaking, it was pretty small. And the reason we ended up moving to Austin was for greater opportunities. We met up with a guy named Rusty Weir and played with him. Whenever he would go on the road, we'd go be his opening act and his backup.
And he was the one who suggested you move to Austin?
He pretty much talked us into it.
Okay.
And so we moved to Austin. And
tell me about Rusty Weir. I'm not familiar with Rusty Weir.
Rusty was a almost star. He had several hits. He was part of the Cosmic Cowboy movement.
Okay.
He had a song, "Don't It Make You Want to Dance," that was done by Bonnie Raitt on the movie Urban Cowboy.
Okay.
He was part of the Fromholtz and the Michael Murphy and B.J. Stevenson and that whole late 70s kind of...
And Willie, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, Willie was kind of ahead of all of that.
Okay.
But yeah, that whole thing, and he was a very large personality, had a huge following, pretty much nationally, but especially here in Austin.
Okay. So that's 1981.
Yep.
And
I was playing with, I had a musical partner, Jim Tracey.
okay.
And so McColl and Tracey, I'd actually met him in Up With People in 1973. He was the bass player and I was the lead player. I don't know how that happened, but we played together for that whole year's tour. Split, went our separate ways for a few years, but when I moved to Phoenix, called him up and he moved to Phoenix. We started a band, the band broke up. He and I stayed together and played as a duo. And came out with a couple of records.
Okay.
Did some pretty cool things, opened for Bonnie Raitt and David Bromberg and Hoyt Axton. And so we made a little mark in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then we moved out here together, and all of a sudden we went from being a big fish in a small pond to a little tiny fish in a really big pond. So
That's interesting. And so how many, what is the population of Austin in 1981? 250, 300,000 people?
I think 250 kills it.
Is that about right?
I think that's exactly right. Mopac stopped at 183. 183 was essentially a 4-lane highway. 620 had no stoplights on it.
I'm sure, right?
360 did not go across the river. Mopac didn't go across the river.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a friend of mine who grew up in town, and he told me about like jumping off the 360 bridge when they when they built it, jumping off there. And the kid's mom went to school in Texas, I guess either side of like 1990. And she was talking about how Westlake was just like, going out to the boonies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was way out in the boonies. Soap Creek Saloon, which is one of the fabled...
where was that? Where was that located?
That was someplace probably out where you live.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was on a dirt road out here somewhere.
Oh, so it was right here in like Rollingwood area?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
See, and that was gone by the time I got here. It had moved to a place, I think, way north Lamar. It moved a few places. But yeah, it used to be on a dirt road somewhere here in Rollingwood.
That's funny.
That was before my time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's interesting. So tell us, and so these days, I know you play at New World Deli. You played here for the Sims Foundation benefit. Tell me about just being a musician here in town and what it's like, and the people that you meet, both the listeners and the people in the music industry.
It's boy.
You've seen a lot of changes.
You've
seen a lot of changes not only with the skyline, but in just the whole music. You've seen a lot of change in the fabric of this town.
Yeah, well, you look at what's happened to music in general. I play acoustic music. I'm a singer-songwriter, Americana, which was the driving force in Austin back in the 80s. It has blossomed into the music mecca that embraces all different kinds of music now, from electronic dance music to rap to hip hop to, country's always big. And the city has gotten urbane, whereas it used to be a little town, as it were.
Yeah.
It was like all the musicians knew everybody. And there's still a big family feel to the music community. Mm-hmm. They're just more
genres.
More
right?
genres, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that from, I guess, I think David Polkingham was saying that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like there's so much more, I guess he moved here in the early 90s, it seems to me. And he told me there's just so much more, and he was, just going on like the, just all the different areas. He was talking about how it's just, he was talking about it from a positive spin, that there's more genres out there.
Well, I'm certainly putting a positive spin on it too.
Yeah.
I think it's my whole approach to it is the more versatile you can be musically, the better musician you are. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not that versatile. I play acoustic guitar these days. Mm-hmm. But the appreciation for all these different styles of music that are being played is very important.
And it must influence you on what your ideas you have and whatnot, I would imagine, right? How could they not?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to admit, some of it baffles me, because I'm an old guy. And I have fairly deep ruts as far as my musicality goes. But I have an appreciation for anyone who can touch that creative spark.
Yeah, people ask me, what kind of music do you like? And I'm like, oh God, I'm kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I love to. There's not a. I bought an old stereo console.
That's
over
odd.
there. It's a 1958 Telefunken, and I bought it from this amazing guy here in town who, at the time, he was refurbishing old German consoles, stereo consoles, and now he's built up clientele and he builds his own stuff.
Wow.
And so he builds some beautiful, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 units that it just comes out his idea and then creates it for customers. In fact, I was sharing this with him. I said, I still have this. He's like, oh, he said, that's like one of the first that I did.
Wow.
Which is...
well, I walked in and saw that and thought, oh my God, it's the Cleavers.
Well, it's beautiful because I've, I had to start over and create my LP collection that some things that I had as a kid and some things that I've just started, or some things from, Julia's album is over there.
I saw that.
Which is, my new favorite album to play while I'm cooking Italian food or what have
Oh, that
you.
makes sense.
And not to take anything away from Dean Martin and his Italian love songs, but hers is really beautiful. And
It's hard to beat Dean Martin.
it's hard to beat Dean for sure. But
I was listening to Frank
does a hell of a
Sinatra
job.
the other day.
Yeah.
What?
What was he called? He was called not the composer, oh God.
What?
He was the chairman?
Chairman, yeah.
Is that the chairman? Is
Yeah,
that what
he was the
called?
chairman.
Yeah. His stuff is great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got his album live from the Sands Hotel,
Oh,
which
that'd be awesome.
is beautiful. But anyway, I mean, what you do, you've been here since the early 80s, and you continue to play here, and it's just, that's one of the things one of the things that's important to me about this podcast is talking about the love that people pour into what they do and how it enriches the fabric of Austin. So I just, coming here and playing your song is beautiful. Coming here and performing for the Sims Foundation was beautiful. And seeing you at New World Deli and whatnot is just, that's really special. Tell us now, about the big stones. Tell us about the people that were dropped into your life here and there that showed you love and encouragement and got us here.
Okay. When you had mentioned this theme, when we were talking about doing this podcast, it set me off on this thought process of who were the big stones. And there are so many, are they big stones or are they just a lot of little stones?
They all add up.
They do. So I told you I came from a non-musical family. And, they didn't have anything against music. They just didn't play music. It was Lawrence Welk on Sunday nights and Mitch Miller, and which is great. When I told my mom I was leaving college to go join up with people, right, was not a popular decision. I have to back up. My father passed away when I was 14. Okay. And so that was a salient event in my life. So I'm at college. I'm going to leave college and join this.
Where do you have siblings?
I have this is a whole other story.
But I'm just wondering where you fall in the pecking order.
I have a younger brother.
You have a younger brother.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of if I am a single parent and my oldest child is in college, and it's like, okay, well, this is where things are supposed to be, and then he comes home and says,
I'm joining the circus.
I'm joining the circus.
Yeah.
It had to just rock her world.
Well, and
it wasn't like there were 2 or 3 before you that were already successful,
right.
And the cookie cutter was all moving along.
Right, and it wasn't.
This was the first cookie was broken.
It wasn't just
probably.
My mother. It was my uncles, her brothers, who were
OU alum.
Well, no, that was on my father's side.
Oh, that was your dad's
side.
Okay.
But my mother's brothers, felt responsible, were helping take care of things, and the day-to-day minutia of running a household, and there was a concerted effort to talk me out of doing this, and it didn't
and you
work.
listen to your heart.
Well,
Good for
I did.
You.
But now I had an aunt on my father's side, married my father's brother, who was a singer with big bands.
Okay.
She was billed as the Platinum Bombshell.
All right.
My uncle met her at a concert in Oklahoma City, and she actually played and sang at the Hawaiian Pavilion at the 1932 Chicago World's Fair.
Nice.
Right. And out of all the family, she was like, Joel, follow your heart. Go do it.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And that was Aunt Fran. God love her.
She was a big deal.
Oh, she was a big deal. It was huge. And as...
That had to make you feel...
Oh, it was edifying is what it was.
Yeah, thank you.
So as we go through the years, and I would visit her, and she'd pull out her scrapbooks and show her clippings, and she was just all supportive. So she lived to be 95. Ended up living with my cousins, were taking care of her in Oklahoma City. She had dementia. She was not doing well. We had a big party for her on her 90th birthday. And So I learned a bunch of Hawaiian songs that she used to do, and they wheeled her out and put a ukulele in her hand. And we played these Hawaiian songs, and she just
kicked in.
jumped right in, and we had just a wonderful time.
I bet.
Yeah. So
I bet that was an
Aunt-
amazing evening.
That was Aunt Fran. And so she passed away in the...
You didn't think you were going to be talking about Aunt Fran being a big stone.
Well, I thought about it when you mentioned the theme of this podcast. So my cousins asked me to play at her funeral in this, I think, Church of Christ church. And so I played a bunch of Hawaiian songs. And it was like, I bet they have never been played in that chapel before.
I bet she heard.
Oh, yeah. It was perfect. It was great.
That's great.
Yeah.
A bunch of my buddies moved over to Hawaii, and one of them dated one of the Don Ho dancers.
We did a show with Don.
And I heard Don Ho was, quite the. He had a couple girls he lived with.
Don Ho was the
man.
Was a rake and rambling kind of guy. We actually did a show with Don Ho at the Rainbow Hilton.
Okay.
In Waikiki.
I think that's where I saw the Don Ho show, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that must have been it. That must have been where he
was
played
his,
forever. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Basil's girlfriend was one of the hula dancers, and we saw Don Ho.
That's awesome.
I don't know. We must have heard Tiny Bubbles. That was his.
Oh yeah, Pearly Shells.
His deal.
Yeah. What cracked me up, and I don't know why I remember this of that whole thing, is he chewed gum through his whole act.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He was a gum snapper.
Yeah. It's like, really? Anyway.
I don't recall that, but I'll, maybe in the Mai Tais. Who knows? So who else? Tell me more.
Oh, another big stone?
Mm-hmm.
8th grade, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. The book, The Grapes of Wrath, was a banned book.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was because it's about the Okies. It's about, just made the Okies look really bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I read Steinway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was about the
About the Dust Bowl, Okies going west to California.
and the pickers, right? And whatnot?
Right. And being abused by the
interesting.
the Judds. And
So that was banned in the 60s in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And was it your teacher that was?
Ruth White, my 8th grade English teacher, took me aside and said, "Here, you need to read this book."
So she gave you the banned book.
Yeah. And I fell in love with John Steinbeck, for one thing. But she was inspiring. She introduced me to the way reading can open up different worlds. And I remember I got a birthday card or something, and it was this card that had the numerals 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it was like you'd say, okay, pick a number. And you would say 3. And you flip it over, it says 98% of people say 3. Right? Well, I showed that to her, and she goes, 3. I turned it over and showed her, and she got so pissed. She goes, I don't want to be like everybody else. I remember that.
How old was she? Out of curiosity.
Oh, God. Okay, so this is skewed. I'm in 8th grade, and I thought she was really old.
Yeah.
So she might have been 50.
Okay. Yeah. One of the I guess the first big stone in my life was my 5th grade teacher.
Yeah.
So I was 10 years old, or thereabouts, and like I've told people, I can't talk about a curriculum she had or something or a book, but I know that I just felt accepted and loved and whatnot. But also it could have been, she was, I'm guessing, like, mid to late 20s. So maybe she was just, this good-looking teacher that I had, and I was just, But
You started early, didn't you?
well, I think it's, I've talked to a lot of people about this, and people on the podcast and people aside, and it seems like a lot of the, first thing, a lot of the big stones are teachers or coaches. Mm-hmm. Because those are people that spend time with you away from your mom and your dad, and influence you and show you love and encouragement and what have you. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, she was great, and she's one of my Facebook friends today. Hi, Miss Strabick.
Nice.
And she, I had a conversation with a girl that I took a lot of classes, a lot of years at Washington High School in New Jersey, and we had a conversation last year about less than a year ago out in Phoenix, and she was like, oh my gosh, she was like going on about Mrs. Dravick, and she had, visited with her, and it's just, these teachers are just really, need to be put up on a pedestal, and, because they're really, really special.
Yeah. Well, you consider how much time our children spend with teachers, as opposed to the amount of time they spend with their parents.
Yeah.
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 So, my daughter-in-law is a teacher. Hello.
What age are her students?
She teaches high school.
That's got to be a trick.
Yeah, but she is passionate. She teaches government and history, and these days
That's got to be interesting.
it's been very interesting, and she's very passionate about it.
Uh-huh.
So hats off to teachers.
No doubt about it.
And unsung heroes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, having raised 3 kids myself, and all 3 of them so different. All beautiful, but all learn different ways, and, just different kids. And,
Yeah.
And the teachers that I look back on were just, what they taught them. And it's, the teachers and the coaches, it's really, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, even I was, this has probably been about 8 years from now, I was going to take all the kids out to the World Cup of Rugby Sevens in San Francisco, because my 2 boys played, and Emily couldn't go because she was working for our Congressman Mike McColl in D.C.
Really?
And that, and taking summer classes, and was just, was burning the wick at both ends.
Like only a youngster can do.
But the boys and I were out there in San Francisco with friends that I have from the East Coast and the West Coast, and they also had their rugby coach was out there as well, and Coach Spodek. It was just a great experience. That was a beautiful brotherhood that the boys were involved in. That was something that enriched the fabric of Austin and Westlake High School. And sadly, they don't have the rugby program anymore, but Coach Spodek is there now running the robotics program, and he's a real special guy.
Nice. Very nice.
How about others? Tell me about some others.
Well, I've mentioned Up With People several times. I have to say that is probably, beyond the birth of my son, the most impactful event in my life. The whole, it has shaped my philosophy. It's given me the gift of compassion. It's truly an amazing group of people.
How compassion? Why that?
It's about promoting world peace one person at a time, person to person. You know, living outside yourself. You know,
Is that program still in existence?
it's not. It is about 2000. It took a hiatus, then it tried to come back, and the world's changed. Its vehicle wasn't built for today's world. You know.
That's too bad because music is so
Well,
moving for all of us.
Well, it is, and but so the whole okay. So you're talking about the big stone. This is one really big stone.
Yeah.
A guy named Blanton Belk started the thing.
What year did he start it?
1965.
Okay.
Okay. The three Caldwell brothers were huge wrote the music for all of this stuff. A guy named Herbie Allen, just absolutely inspirational, musical genius. Those five people put together this program, along with others. And I'll be forever grateful for it. I mean, right now there's probably 22,000 alumni of this thing.
Wow.
And the whole thing is we traveled the world, living in people's homes, just sitting down talking to people heart to heart. You know?
And tell me about the host families. How did they get involved in it? How did they?
Well, a PR team would go out and
The PR team would drop into Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And how would they find the people that they talked to and find the host family and the home?
Well, it's a constant machine going, looking, we had sponsors that would sponsor the show. Mm-hmm. And so that would, through the sponsors.
You'd have your host families.
Well,
or they would be the ones.
I never got to do PR because I was always playing guitar. Mm-hmm. And saying this is the cool thing about it. It's all the kids did everything themselves. Mm-hmm. It was like it was a giant sociological experiment. And it was different every year because there was a 90% turnover in the personnel every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were there for how many years?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
3 years.
Okay.
I was on staff and I was a musician.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a traveling school. Uh-huh. Matter of fact, you could take your last year of high school or your first 2 years of college while you're on the road.
Okay.
I mean, so it's an educational thing.
That's
how it was
really
set
cool.
up. Yeah. So the PR team would go to a city. They would get on the radio, do PSAs. They would, I don't know how they did it. I never did it. But they would find sponsors. They would find people to sponsor meals, to sponsor tours,
So, I mean, it was not only the show that you would perform, but it was the time you spent with the people in their houses and spreading the word. And
yeah, when you say the word, it's not like there's any message besides world peace. Yeah. That we're all the same. We all breathe the same air. We drink the same. We need to eat. We need to feel loved. We need to be warm when it's cold, and that we all share that.
Well, I think you nailed it. It's the love.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that,
And more importantly, it was a incredibly rich educational training ground for everyone in the cast. I mean, people have gone on to do just incredible things, being inspired by that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so the whole program was just a big stone,
it was a boulder.
right?
Yeah.
A big plump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ripples.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tsunamis.
Yeah.
And it's still going. I mean, the ripples are still going.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh my gosh, that's really.
it was huge. And and it's funny.
I bet that would make a great documentary, wouldn't it?
There have been. There's one out now called "Smile Till It Hurts." That's an expose of Up With People.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've been done.
Yes.
Smile till it hurts.
Yeah, that's not a real favorable look at it. It was from a disgruntled person.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, because you have to imagine, out of 50 years, there's,
There's gonna be somebody who's got
got a burr under their saddle.
Yeah, I mean that's just. They're gonna be haters, right?
Yeah, but like we still hold the record for the most number of Super Bowl halftimes.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's big.
I had no idea.
Google it.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this.
Or Chat GPT. I know you like that better.
Yeah, well, the ChatGPT will do all the work for you.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, what else? What that's. How do you feel? How do you feel that all of that contributed to what you're doing here in Austin, what you continue to?
Well, it's not just what I do here in Austin. It has to do a lot with who I am.
Okay.
So one of the things I do that I just absolutely cherish and love is I get to curate a musical venue that celebrates the creative artist.
New World Deli.
New World Deli. And Greg Bontempo has entrusted me with that, of putting together the musical side of his establishment. And it's dedicated to the singer-songwriter.
And he gets some amazing talent.
Yes.
Or you get some amazing talent for his venue.
Are getting a reputation as being a singer-songwriter, a place that celebrates original music, which when I moved to Austin, that was a big thing. I used to think, I love this. I can always make a living playing music, even if it's playing Margaritaville in some bars somewhere. And I did that for decades. And I'm of an age to where I don't really want to do that anymore. I'd rather play my music, music I write. And I am not playing music to make a living anymore, which is incredibly liberating.
I bet. I guess anytime you're doing anything just for your heart
is liberating.
Right?
Yeah. But I love the fact that we have a place that not only allows but encourages creativity and self-expression.
And I guess you're a big part of that. You're the one who's curating it.
Well, boy, I piss off a lot of people because we have more people. I don't say I don't piss them off, but it's just we get a lot of inquiries about playing, and unfortunately, we just can't do them all.
Oh, people coming in saying, I'd like to play here, and you've got to say yes or no.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like I hate feeling so judgmental, you know, but that's kind of my job,
Yeah.
you know, because I do have a fiscal responsibility to the owner
Yeah.
to maintain his mission, his musical mission, but at the same time keep him solvent.
Yeah. How long has New World Deli been in existence?
It's been there 25 years.
Yeah.
It's been there a long
And how
time.
long have you been?
17 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
You've made it through COVID because
Yeah.
a lot of places shut down during COVID.
Well, and I got to give Greg credit. What we did then was we went to online shows sponsored by New World Deli. That was a tough period.
Yeah.
He actually, he pivoted. Did a great pivot and would deliver food to people out on the curb, and got through the whole pandemic without losing any employees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't think he took any of the PPE money that was out there. So he's Greg Bontempo. You're a good man.
Nice. And he makes a nice sloppy Joe for those New Jersey friends of mine.
Reuben ain't so bad either.
Well, the sloppy Joe is kind of special because the sloppy Joe from New Jersey is not
different than
the sloppy Joe that most people.
It's not the manwich.
It's not the manwich.
Yeah. Well, the first time I got the sloppy Joe, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Where's the ground beef and tomato sauce? And,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's great.
So, interesting story. As long as we're telling interesting stories, I was adopted. That's why when you ask me if I had a brother, I kind of hem and haw.
Oh, okay.
I have a brother I grew up with who was also adopted, but I had a coronary thing a few years ago, and after 68 years of, do you have a family history of, me going, no clue, I did Ancestry.com.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And started getting these emails saying, hey, I think we're cousins. And it's like, yeah, we're all cousins. You know, at some point in time, we're cousins.
Okay.
Then I get one that says, I think you're my uncle. And okay, if I'm your uncle, that means one of your parents is my sibling.
Yeah.
So we started a conversation. And he got his uncles and aunts to do it, and my God, we're matching, and long story short, found out who my father and my mother was.
Okay.
They're both passed, unfortunately. I had 8 siblings.
And you found out you found your brother or sister, I guess, through this?
I had 8 siblings, 4 of whom are still alive,
Really?
that we have connected with.
And are they're younger than you are, I guess.
All the ones older than me are passed.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest, I suppose. And so it was my nephew who was kind of spearheading this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, have you heard of the band Badfinger? I went, well, yes, I have.
Of course.
He goes, well, that's my dad. Married my older sister. So the lead guitarist and sole surviving member of Badfinger is my brother-in-law.
Oh my gosh.
And so,
Have you connected with him?
well, we did connect, and I got to play with him a few times and saw him in concert a few times. And unfortunately, he passed away about 6 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, got to
So
spend
there
time
was
with
some
him.
music.
He's a brother-in-law.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's in the family, right? There was a connection there,
So,
I think.
okay, so, we talked about I was in sales. I was in the car business for 25, on and off for 25 years, right? Turns out my father was a car salesman and a guitar player.
Really?
Yeah. So I told you I grew up in a non-musical family.
Not so.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That is so interesting.
His name was Warren Wiggins, and he used to bill himself as Horny Warning from Las Vegas.
So he's from Las Vegas.
No, he just billed himself as that.
Where did he live?
They were in Minneapolis area
Okay.
and South Dakota,
And was his wife your mom or
no.
no? Your mom they somehow had some.
My mother was his wife's cousin.
Oh. Interesting.
So all of my siblings on my father's side are also my second cousins.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my
And so Joey, the guitar player for Badfinger, who married my older sister Kathy's younger brother, married my sister on my mother's side.
So interesting.
Yeah, it's been amusing.
I've got a good friend of mine who I've talked about with others and on this podcast, and he's got a book coming out next year about his dad and how his dad had these, how Tom has got a half sister and these, just all this. I guess it was just. It was a lot easier to hide all this stuff 50 years ago.
Well, it turns out,
Right?
my mother, who found out she was pregnant in August of 51, went to Kansas City. And evidently Kansas City was a clearinghouse for illegitimate children at the time because there were a lot of men coming back from World War II and the Korean War, and there was, let's say, a surplus of unclaimed bags. Right? And so the story that I grew up with was my father was on a train sitting next to a judge from Jefferson County, Missouri, and somehow the conversation came up, and, well, I can get you a boy. And so he arranged for that. My birth certificate I grew up with had my name Joel McColl, born to the parents I grew up with.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
When my mother passed away, we were cleaning out her belongings, came across a letter that was a legal name change for me when I was 2. My name was John Jorgensen.
Okay.
Which was kind of the start of this whole odyssey.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Oh, my God. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, I don't know why I brought it up, but I figured it would be interesting.
Yeah, well, it's a special story.
Yeah.
And we got Badfinger thrown in there, too.
Yeah,
Pretty darn cool.
that was cool. He would, so I'd talk to Joey, and, I'm fanboy. My wife says, don't be a fanboy. I said, I can't help it.
Yeah, never stop being who you are.
He's going, yeah, Kathy and I were in our flat in London, and George calls up, says, you want to go down to Albert and see Eric? And I went, wait. George Harrison goes, yeah. Royal Albert Hall, yeah. Eric Clapton, yeah. He was so drunk he couldn't stand up. Like, really? So that was pretty entertaining.
That's an excellent story.
Yeah.
Well, that was really beautiful.
It's been a constant source of amazement.
The world is an amazing place, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And you've got a beautiful spin on things.
Well,
I like it.
I'm a very lucky guy.
I think we all are, right?
Yeah. You just have to learn to appreciate it.
It's a fact, gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Well, I am grateful for you playing at the Sims Foundation. I am grateful for you as my new friend, and I am grateful for you coming by here to chat with me.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you. Oh, there you go.
All right. Yeah, we got pie in the middle.
And we're out.